The rain started falling again. Small, cold drops hit her skin as she walked barefoot through the narrow alien street. Her name was Laxi, and she was only 16. Her clothes were torn, her skin bruised, and her eyes full of fear. She carried a small cloth bag, tied with string. Inside it were a few broken items, nothing valuable, just pieces of old tools she hoped to sell. Laxi was not from this city. She had arrived 2 weeks ago on a cargo shuttle. She had no family left, no money, no protection, just her name and the promise her mother once gave her. You are strong, even when the world is not. But strength didn't mean safety. Laxi turned a corner into a crowded market area. Neon lights blinked overhead, and loud alien voices shouted prices in different languages. The smell of fried oils and burning metal filled the air. She tightened her grip on her bag and moved faster. She didn't see them at first. The 3 bandits. All alien males, covered in old jackets with sharp eyes and sharper teeth. They had been watching her for days, waiting. One of them stepped in front of her. "Where you going, little thing?" he said with a cruel smile. Laxi stepped back. "Please, I don't want trouble." But trouble didn't care what she wanted. Another grabbed her bag she held on tight. "No," she cried. "It's mine." He hit her in the stomach, hard. She fell to the ground, gasping. The 3rd bandit kicked her side and laughed. Her bag tore open, broken parts scattered on the ground like pieces of her hope. One of the bandits picked up a tiny silver coin and said, "All this for trash? Worth nothing." Still, they took everything. Her bag, her belt, even her old scarf. Then they walked away, laughing. Laxi lay there, shaking. Her lip was bleeding, her arm hurt, her whole body ached. But worse than pain was the silence. Dozens of people passed by. No one stopped. No one helped. She crawled into a dark alley. A pile of scrap and garbage covered the space. She found a spot under a broken crate and sat there, her knees pulled to her chest. Her breath shivered. The rain got worse. She remembered her home planet, the green fields, her mother singing, her father fixing machines with her. All gone now. A war had come. Fire fell from the sky. She escaped. They didn't. Now she was nothing. She whispered, "Why didn't I die too?" Her voice was soft, but someone heard it. Footsteps, heavy ones, different from the others. Not fast or loud, but steady. She froze, her eyes widened. Was it the bandits again? Had they come back to finish what they started? The footsteps stopped right in front of her crate. She held her breath. Then a voice said, "You all right?" Not harsh, not cold, just calm. She peeked out. It was a human. She had seen humans before, always far away, always strong and silent. This one looked different. His clothes were rough, oily. A large tool bag hung from his shoulder. His boots were worn. His beard was short. But his eyes, they looked kind. Laxi didn't speak. He slowly reached into his pocket and pulled out something. A food bar. He placed it on the ground and pushed it toward her with 2 fingers. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said. "Eat." She stared at the bar. Her stomach growled. Her hands shook. She grabbed it and tore it open. She ate like she hadn't eaten in days, because she hadn't. The man sat down nearby on a pile of metal pipes. He didn't say anything more. After a few minutes, she looked at him. "Why?" He raised an eyebrow. "Why what?" "Why help me?" He looked at her for a long second, then said, "Because someone should." That answer confused her. It didn't make sense. No one had helped her since her parents died, but he had. He stood up. "You shouldn't stay here. Bad things walk these streets at night. Come with me." She pulled her knees closer. "I don't know you." He nodded. "Fair. My name's Reed. I fix machines. I got a place, warm, dry. You don't have to come, but I'm heading there." He turned and started walking. Laxi looked down at the food bar wrapper, then at his back disappearing in the rain. No one else had ever stopped for her. No one had ever said, "You all right?" And somehow she believed him. She stood. Her legs were weak. But she followed, because something inside her whispered, this human might be the only good thing left in her world. Rain still fell from the sky, but now it felt different, not sharp like before, not painful, just cold. Laxi followed the human in silence, her feet splashing in puddles, her body still shaking from fear and hunger. The man, Reed, walked ahead without looking back. He didn't talk much, didn't ask questions. He just walked like someone who had done this before, like someone who had carried broken things back home before fixing them. They passed old buildings made of rusted metal. Neon signs flickered, lighting up strange alien faces behind windows. Everyone stared at them, especially at her. But Reed didn't seem to care. His tall body blocked her from sight, like a silent shield. Finally, they reached the edge of the city. There stood a small repair shop built from junk, ship parts, old wires, broken panels. A faded sign above the door read, "Reed's Mechanicals, no promises, just patches." He opened the door and motioned her inside. The place smelled like warm oil and metal. Lights buzzed overhead. A tiny heater hummed in the corner. Tools lay on the table but neatly arranged. On one wall there was a torn poster of Earth. Laxi stared at it. "Never been there?" Reed asked, locking the door behind them. She shook her head. "I don't even know what it feels like to have a home anymore." He didn't answer. Instead, he handed her a blanket and pointed to a corner with a cushion and a thin mattress. "You can sleep there. Clean water's in the back. If you're hungry again, there's food in the red box." She hesitated. "You're not going to sell me?" Reed froze mid-step. Then he slowly turned to her. "Is that what you're used to?" She looked down, embarrassed. "People only help me when they want something." He leaned against the table. "I fix broken things. That's all. I don't trade in people." His voice was steady but firm. Laxi believed him. She took the blanket and sat on the mattress. Her eyes stung, but she held back the tears. It was too early to cry. Later that night, she heard his voice. He was on a comm call in the other room. His voice was low, but her ears were sharp. She crawled closer and pressed her ear to the door. "I found her," Reed whispered. "She's just a kid, scared, beaten." A pause. "No, I'm not turning her in. I don't care what they want. She's not going back out there." Another pause. Then anger in his tone. "You want to come and try to take her? You better bring backup." Click. The call ended. Laxi backed away, heart pounding. Someone was looking for her. Someone dangerous. She didn't know what scared her more, that she was still being hunted, or that Reed had just made himself a target to protect her. The next morning, she woke up to the smell of something cooking. A strange but good smell. Her stomach growled. She got up slowly and followed the scent. Reed stood in the tiny kitchen, space heating food in a small pot. "You're awake," he said. "Good. Sit." He placed a hot bowl in front of her, soup made from alien roots and something chewy. She tasted it and smiled. "It's not bad," he smirked. "That's the nicest thing anyone said about my cooking." For a moment, things felt normal, but then came the knock. 3 sharp bangs on the metal door. Reed stood instantly, reaching for a wrench. "Go to the back room," he said. Laxi froze. "Now." She ran, hid under a pile of old cloths and panels. He opened the door halfway. 2 figures stood outside. Tall, masked. Not police, not civilians, bounty hunters. "You have something that doesn't belong to you," one of them growled. Reed didn't flinch. "You sure? I've got a lot of junk." Small alien girl, branded high price, not interested. The bounty hunter stepped forward. "You'd trade her for parts, good parts, or credits. Think about it." Reed's voice turned cold. "Get off my property." A tense silence followed. Then the hunters walked away. For now. When the door shut, Laxi crawled out. Her hands were shaking. "They'll come back," she said. Reed looked at her seriously. "I know." "Why are you helping me?" she asked again. "You don't even know who I am." Reed knelt down and placed a hand on her shoulder. "You don't have to earn kindness, Laxi. And no one should be left in the street like trash." Her eyes welled with tears, and for the first time in months, she smiled. The storm outside had passed. But inside Laxi's chest, another storm still raged. Fear, doubt, and a heavy feeling she couldn't name. She sat near the corner of the small repair shop, wrapped in the blanket Reed gave her. Her eyes moved across the strange room. Shelves, full of old tools, blinking machines, and scrap parts stacked like towers. It wasn't a palace, it wasn't clean. But it was the first place in weeks where no one tried to hurt her. Reed worked nearby, his back turned, welding something on a broken hoverbike. Sparks flew, but he didn't flinch. The music from a dusty speaker filled the room, a soft earth melody with no words. Laxi finally asked, "Do you live here alone?" "Yeah," Reed answered, not looking up. "Easier that way, less noise. Less betrayal." His voice was calm, but something inside it sounded broken. Laxi touched a metal panel near her foot. "You fix these things for money?" "Sometimes. Sometimes I just fix them so they don't die," he said with a half smile. "Machines don't lie. They don't betray. They just stop working. And then you bring them back." She looked at him. "You fix broken things?" He nodded. "I try." She whispered, "Am I one of those things now?" Reed stopped working. He turned slowly and met her eyes. "No, you're not broken, Laxi. You're just surviving." Those words hit her harder than any punch the bandits had given her. That night, as the sky outside darkened and purple moons rose, Reed set up an old heater beside her mattress. "There's no lock on the door, but no one will come through it," he said. "You can't promise that." "No," Reed said honestly, "but I'll make sure they regret it if they try." She believed him. She curled up under the blanket but couldn't sleep. Her mind spun with old memories. Her mother's hands, her father's soft voice. The night she lost them both in the fire, she sat up. "Reed," she called softly. He was still at the table, fixing something small, maybe a communicator. Do you know why they're hunting me?" Reed turned toward her, surprised. "No. I figured you'd tell me when you were ready." "I'm not sure I ever will be," she said. "But there's something you should see." Slowly, she stood and walked closer. She turned her back toward him and lifted the back of her shirt. There it was, a deep scar, glowing faintly blue under her skin. It wasn't just a wound. It was a brand, and something buzzed softly from it, like it still had power inside. Reed leaned in. "That's no burn. That's a tracking mark. Military grade. Alien tech." "I didn't ask for it," she said. "They burned it into me when I escaped the research facility. I'm not a criminal, Reed, but they treated me like one." Reed sat back slowly. "So you're not just running from bandits. You're running from someone bigger." She nodded. "They called me Specimen 9. I was part of a DNA project. Something about ancient bloodlines. I didn't understand it all. My mother worked there. She tried to help me escape. She died for it." Reed stared at the scar, then looked her in the eyes. "You didn't do anything wrong. But they'll come for me. Then we'll be ready." She stared at him. "Why are you like this? Why are you helping me when helping me could get you killed?" Reed picked up the small communicator he'd been fixing and handed it to her. "When I was a soldier," he said, "I left someone behind. A child. I couldn't save them. I swore I'd never run from a chance to do it right again." Laxi held the communicator gently. "You think you can save me?" He nodded. "I don't know how long or how far we'll have to run, but I'll carry the weight if I have to." Later that night, while Laxi was finally asleep, Reed worked quietly at the table. He opened a metal case and pulled out something hidden for years, a high-frequency jammer. He connected wires, adjusted circuits, and attached it to a power cell. Then, he opened a small scanner and aimed it at the glowing scar on Laxi's back from a distance. Location confirmed, tracker active. Reed clenched his jaw. They'll be here soon. But he didn't panic. He leaned over the jammer and whispered to himself, "Let them come." Because this time, he wasn't letting go. The shop was quiet, but Reed couldn't sleep. He sat at his workbench, staring at a flickering hologram above a small metal disc. It showed a moving dot, Laxi's location. That faint glow under her skin was not just a scar. It was a living signal, pulsing with alien tech, marking her like a beacon. And someone was listening. He glanced over his shoulder. Laxi was curled, under the blanket, her breathing soft and steady. She looked peaceful, but Reed knew that peace wouldn't last. Not with what was buried in her back. He pulled the jammer device closer and made a decision. It was time to break the signal. The next morning, Laxi woke up to the sound of soft metal tools clinking together. Reed stood over her, holding a small scanner. Her eyes flew open. What are you doing?" "Don't panic," Reed said gently. "I need to take a closer look at the scar." She sat up quickly, covering her back. "Why? What are you going to do?" "I think I can shut it down," he explained. "That mark on your back, it's not just a scar, it's a tracker. It's sending your location every second. That's how the bounty hunters found us so fast." Laxi looked pale. "So they always knew where I was?" Reed nodded. "Every time you moved, they followed. But if I can block the signal, they'll lose you. You'll finally be free. But," he paused, "it won't be easy. And it might hurt." Laxi swallowed hard. Then slowly she turned around and moved her shirt aside. "Do it." Reed set his tools down beside her and powered on a small light. The scar pulsed faintly, as if alive. Tiny metallic veins ran under her skin, glowing with blue energy. This was not a normal tracker, it was fused into her nerves. He took a breath. "I'll inject a local freeze, no pain. But once I start, we can't stop halfway." Laxi nodded without a word. He pressed a tool to her skin. A cold burst entered her back. Her body tensed, then slowly relaxed. With a sharp tool, he opened a thin line through the old scar, exposing a sliver of the tracker chip. It blinked like a star. "This is alien tech," he muttered. "Older than I've ever seen." Using steady hands, Reed connected a small wire to the chip and fed the signal into his jammer. The light on the chip blinked faster. "Come on, shut down." Suddenly, the jammer sparked. Then, silence. The chip stopped blinking. Laxi gasped. "Is it done?" Reed checked the scanner. The dot was gone. "They can't track you now, the signal's dead." Laxi's eyes filled with tears. "You did it. I'm free." But Reed didn't smile. His eyes narrowed at the screen. "They know we shut it off. That signal going dark? It'll wake up everyone hunting you." That afternoon, while Laxi rested, Reed prepared. He reinforced the doors with scrap metal, rigged motion sensors outside, charged his old plasma cutter. Every sound outside made him grip his wrench tighter. Laxi watched him silently from the corner. "You don't have to fight for me, you know." "Yes, I do," Reed replied. "Why?" He stopped and looked at her. "Because no one fought for me when I needed it. I survived, but it left something broken inside. Helping you. Maybe I fix a piece of that." She said nothing, but something inside her softened. She walked over and placed her small hand on his. He didn't pull away. That night, Laxi had a dream. She was running again, through fire, through screams, through darkness. The sky above her turned red, then black. And then she saw a light. It was a hand, a human hand, reaching for hers. She grabbed it and woke up. Footsteps echoed outside the shop, real ones, heavy, many. Reed had already heard them. He stood by the door, weapon ready. He turned to Laxi. "They're here." Laxi stood up. Her voice shook. "You should run." "I don't run from kids who need help." She walked beside him. "Then I won't hide this time." Through a crack in the metal, they saw shadowy figures approaching, bounty hunters, 5 of them. One had a scanner in his hand. Reed whispered, "They're still searching. They don't know the signal's off." Laxi narrowed her eyes. "Then let's give them nothing to find." Reed handed her a small metal orb. "IMP. Throw it if they break through." "What about you?" He gave a small smile. "I'll handle the rest." As the night deepened, the girl with the scarred back stood beside the human who refused to let her fall again. And somewhere outside, danger crept closer, unaware it was walking into a storm. The metal shop stood silent in the moonlight, its windows dark, doors bolted tight. Outside, 5 shadowy figures moved through the scrap alley, their steps careful, scanning every corner. Inside, Laxi crouched behind a large crate, holding the small EMP orb Reed had given her. Her heart thudded like a drum. Her scar no longer glowed, but her fear was still alive. Reed stood near the door, gripping a long iron pipe. He wasn't armored. He didn't have a gun. But there was a look in his eyes that made even silence feel dangerous. "They're scanning," he whispered. "How? Do you know?" "I can feel it," Reed replied. "They're not sure if we're here, but they remember this place." A sharp beep echoed from outside. Then a voice. "Signal's dead. But she was here. Recently." Another voice laughed. "That human, the one who stopped us in the market, he's the one hiding her." Laxi's body tensed. That voice. She knew it. The bandit leader. The same one who hit her in the stomach and called her trash. He hadn't forgotten. "Let's smoke him out." Reed turned sharply. "Get ready." Suddenly a loud bang shook the door. Then another. Then, boom! A blast from a plasma grenade threw sparks into the room. Metal flew. The lock cracked open. Smoke poured in. Reed rushed forward, kicked the door out, and slammed the bandit standing there with the pipe. The alien dropped instantly. 3 more rushed in, 2 with electric rods, 1 with a blade. Laxi hid behind the counter, holding the orb tight. Reed ducked under a strike and smashed a wrench into the attacker's leg. The alien screamed. Another tried to grab him from behind, but Reed spun and elbowed him hard in the face. Still, he was outnumbered. 1 bandit tackled Reed to the ground. A blade raised over his chest. Laxi screamed, "No!" She ran forward and threw the EMP orb. Fzzzt! A bright blue pulse exploded. All power shut off. Lights, weapons, shields. The blade stopped inches from Reed's chest. The bandits froze, stunned. Reed kicked the attacker off, rolled to his feet, and pulled Laxi behind him. "You okay?" he asked, breathing hard. She nodded, though her hands were shaking. "Good," he said, "because now we run." With the shop powerless and half destroyed, Reed led Laxi through the back wall, through a hidden panel he had built long ago. It opened into a tight maintenance tunnel, dark and wet. "We follow this," Reed said. "It'll take us to the old city levels. They won't follow us there. Too risky." "But where will we go?" "There's an old friend. He owes me. We hide there, just for now." As they moved through the tunnel, Laxi looked back one last time. Her heart ached. "That place. Your shop. It was the first place I felt safe." Reed gave her a tired smile. "Home isn't the walls. It's the people." Hours passed. They climbed through old ladders, rusted pipes, forgotten passages deep under the city. These were places most aliens avoided, too unstable, too lawless. The air was thick. Faint whispers echoed in the dark. Finally, they reached an old transit, station underground. Broken lights flickered. Half of the train platform was caved in. A few beggars slept near the walls. Reed knocked on a locked door with a strange rhythm. A tiny eye slot opened. An alien voice grumbled, "Go away." "It's Reed," Silence. Then the door opened. A tall, lizard-skinned alien with one cybernetic arm stood there. "You look like garbage." "You should see the other guys," Reed replied. The alien looked at Laxi. "Who's the kid? She's the reason I need a place." The alien stepped aside. "Get in. You both look like trouble." Inside, the space was small but safe. Laxi sat on a crate, looking around. Reed finally rested, wiping blood from his temple. His arms were scraped, his shirt torn. The lizard alien made a hot drink and handed it to him. "What's going on, Reed?" Reed looked at Laxi, then back at him. They branded her, burned a tracker into her back. She's not just a runaway. She's carrying something important. Laxi lowered her head. "I didn't ask for this," she whispered. "I didn't ask to be hunted." "No," Reed said. "But you're not alone anymore." The lizard alien crossed his arms. "So what now?" Reed looked toward the door. "Now, we survive. And then, we fight back." Laxi looked at him, eyes wide. "Fight back?" Reed nodded. "They burned your past. We'll give you a future." The lights in the old underground station were dying, one flicker at a time. Laxi sat beside a rusted power unit, legs pulled to her chest, eyes watching Reed from across the room. He was speaking to the lizard alien. Core, he called him. Their voices were low, but Laxi could read the tension in Reed's body. He looked tired, but not afraid. She wasn't sure what she was anymore. Just hours ago, she was a girl hiding behind crates. Now bounty hunters were hunting her like she was a threat. And yet, Reed stood by her side. Still. The door creaked. A shadow passed by the dusty window. Core moved first. "We're not safe. Here. The underworld's listening. Word spreads." Reed nodded. "Then we leave before dawn." As the sky above the surface shifted from deep black to faint gray, they slipped into the city's forgotten veins, the underworld tunnels. These weren't on maps. Twisting paths of dirt, broken transit lines, ancient service routes that hadn't been used in 100 years. No lights. Just echoes. And fear. Reed held a small glowing compass. "It's pulling us toward the old Earth colony zone. There's an abandoned human consulate there. Maybe we'll find answers. Maybe even protection." Core scoffed. "Or maybe you'll find ghosts." Laxi kept quiet, her steps soft. The floor beneath her boots felt alive, like it remembered pain. They passed skeletons of machines, collapsed walls, and once great metal statues now buried in silence. And as they walked, the truth finally spilled. "They said I was special," Laxi whispered. Reed slowed his steps. "Special how?" "They said, my blood carries something ancient, something not even they understand. A spark from a race older than this galaxy. I thought it was a lie. Until they started calling me a key." "A key to what?" Core asked. "I don't know. They said I could wake machines. Machines that haven't worked in centuries. That I could touch. Weapons, vaults, even ships, and they'd listen." Reed stopped walking. "You've done it?" "Once," she said. "Back in the lab. I was locked in a room with a dead machine, one of the giant warwalkers. I was scared. I touched it. It lit up. They stared at me like I was a god." "Not a god," Core muttered. "A tool. That's why they won't stop hunting me," she said, voice shaking. "They don't want me. They want what I can open." Reed looked at her, his eyes burning with quiet fire. "Then we make sure they never use you again." They kept moving. Hours passed. The deeper they went, the more dangerous it became. Suddenly, a sound, metal scraping, then voices. Rough, alien. "Someone's in these tunnels. Human footprints." Laxi gasped. "They're here." Core grabbed her arm. "Move!" They ran, boots echoing through the narrow halls. Reed led them through twists and side paths, over collapsed bridges and under broken rail beams. But the hunters followed, closer and louder. A narrow gap opened ahead, a vertical shaft going down into darkness. "No way around it," Reed yelled. "We go down." Cor leapt first. Reed followed. Laxi stared into the pit, shaking. "I can't." "You can," Reed shouted from below. "Trust me." Laxi jumped. She landed hard but safe, caught by Reed's arms. They tumbled into a deeper, older level, colder and strange. The walls here were covered in vines made of metal and dust. The air shimmered faintly with energy. Laxi's eyes widened. "This place—" "What?" Reed asked. "It's alive." Suddenly the ground rumbled. A hidden door opened in the wall, smooth, silent. Something ancient stirred. A glowing panel blinked softly inside. "Laxi," Reed said slowly, "is this one of the machines you can wake?" She nodded, barely breathing. "It's calling me." "No," Cor barked. "We need to keep running." But Reed shook his head. "What if it helps us escape?" Laxi stepped forward, raised her hand, and the door widened. Inside was a transport pod, sleek, human-made, but older than anything Reed had seen. They entered. As the pod powered on, a map blinked onto the glass, a full layout of the underworld and surface. Paths lit up. One route showed a way to the outer walls of the city near the desert. "Destination locked," a female voice said. Laxi gasped. "It speaks." "It recognized you," Reed said. "It's real." As the pod moved, speeding through hidden tracks, the hunters' signals vanished behind them. For the first time, they were truly ahead. Inside the pod, Laxi leaned back, eyes wide with wonder and fear. Reed sat beside her. "Whatever you are," he said quietly, "they're afraid of it." "They should be," she whispered, because now she wasn't just running. She was beginning to understand who she really was. The ancient transport pod cut through the underground like a ghost in the veins of the city. Its walls glowed faint blue, powered by energy untouched for centuries. Symbols danced on the glass. Unknown languages pulsed beneath Laxi's fingers, but somehow she understood them. Reed watched her from across the cabin. She wasn't just some runaway anymore, not just a girl with a scar. She was something more. The machine moved because of her. It obeyed her. Hours later, the pod slowed. The lights dimmed. The doors opened with a soft hiss. They stepped out into a quiet wasteland outside the city, dry, cracked ground stretching to the distant horizon. A collapsed starship lay nearby, half buried in the sand. A hidden entrance had opened into its hull, revealed by the pod. Laxi walked toward it like she was being pulled. Cor looked uneasy. "This place is old, not normal." Reed gripped his tool belt. "This is where the pod brought us, for a reason." They entered the starship's ruins. Inside, dust floated in golden beams of light. Bones of machines lined the walls, but at the center was a tall metal throne, and beside it, a sleeping AI core in a glass cradle. Laxi stepped close. A voice spoke. "Biometric match confirmed. Genesis line. Activation authorized." The cradle lit up. The AI awakened. Reed took a step back. "What in Earth's name is this?" The voice continued. "She is the last of her kind. The one meant to guide the builder's return?" Laxi's mouth parted. "I didn't know. I didn't ask for this. But you were chosen." The ship's systems came alive. Holograms lit up, showing ancient wars, lost cities, and alien civilizations that once feared the power now flowing through Laxi's blood. "She's not just a girl," Cor whispered. "She's a key to a forgotten empire." But Laxi was silent. Reed stepped forward. "What does this mean for her? Will they keep hunting her?" The AI's voice replied, cold and clear. "They will never stop. As long as she breathes, the greedy will chase her. The cowards will fear her. The powerful will try to use her." Laxi turned slowly to Reed. Her voice didn't tremble anymore. "Then I can't keep hiding. Reed looked into her eyes, calmer now, stronger. What do you want? To do? She glanced at the glowing ship. I want to stop running. I want to protect what's left of me and those who stood beside me. You're sure? He asked. She nodded. I wasn't just saved. I was chosen. Later, as the sun rose over the desert horizon, Laxi stood at the open ramp of the ship's remains. Her old rags were gone, replaced by a flexible suit grown from the ship's own nanotech. It shimmered softly with blue lines that pulsed to her heartbeat. Reed stood beside her. She looked at him. You gave me more than protection. What did I give you? A reason to live. He smiled. Then you've given me something too. What? A reason to stay. As the bounty hunters searched the tunnels below, as the ones who branded her received no signal, as the cities above began to whisper her name again, the ship powered up. The throne accepted her. She placed her hand on the command core, and ancient systems long asleep woke up. The AI said, Your journey begins now, Laxi of the Genesis line. What is your first order? She turned to Reed. Come. With me? He grinned. Always. She faced forward and gave her first command. Let's go rebuild the stars.